Hello? Parker! Just in time to celebrate.
Celebrate? Wait. Where are the arms? Oh, wow. So cool. But how did you...
Intracranial neural network. Neurotransmission speeds under 1 nanosecond. Faster than signals travel inside the brain. Never mind to an external prosthesis. We did it, Peter. No one can take this away from us.
Amazing.
And your work on the neural web was the key.
But we haven't even tested it yet. There's so much we don't know.
It works beautifully. Come on, take a look.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Spider-Man Tom Holland trailer video. I'll explain what's going on with this. The studio talked about the future of the Spider-Man game franchise. Obviously, this has a lot to do with what's going on at Sony with the future of Spider-Man in the movies, in the Venom movies. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a giveaway for the actual game. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know what your favorite Spider-Man game is. So just starting with the big stuff first, number 5. If you didn't see this morning, the team that worked on Spider-Man PS4 and who are currently working on Spider-Man PS5 right now said that they decided to change the character model of Peter Parker and make him look more like Tom Holland's Spider-Man because of what they're doing with the future of the game, referring to Spider-Man PS5. Everyone's been using FaceApp to change his face and post all kinds of memes this morning. There's one that looks like Chris Evans, all kinds of other characters. So this is the actual official statement from the studio that they released on Twitter. They said that today's news about the new Peter Parker face model has surprised some of you, and we at Insomniac totally understand your reaction. Heck, it even took me a while to get used to Peter's new look, but as we discussed the franchise's future and moving to the PS5, it quickly became apparent that delivering an even more believable-looking character made finding a better facial match for actor Yuri Lowenthal, who's the voice of Peter Parker in the games. We all love as Peter a necessity. We care as much about his character as your attachment to him, so please know we didn't make this decision or change lightly. As we did throughout development of Marvel's Spider-Man, we'll continue to read your comments, listen, and always be looking for ways to improve every facet of the game. And at the same time, I hope you can trust us that this decision is what we feel is best for the future of the franchise and our upcoming goals for this beloved Marvel character. So obviously Insomniac is teasing just really big moves that they're making with the future of the Spider-Man game franchise, talking about Spider-Man PS5. So if it's not clear, what they've done is they've completely changed the Spider-Man PS4 game and remastered it for PS5, but now Peter Parker looks like Tom Holland in the entire game. You can get the game for free with the Ultimate Edition of the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, or they'll also probably be selling the remastered version of Spider-Man PS4 at some point for a discounted price. In number 4, naturally everyone saw how much he looks like Tom Holland now and just assumed that they're trying to make the game feel even more like the movies. Spider-Man PS4 was already an S-tier game with a great story to begin with, but now with the PS5 hardware they can do full-blown ray tracing and everything looks way more photorealistic, so of course they want it to feel more like an actual movie that you're playing through. No coincidence that Venom is a key component character of Spider-Man PS5, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to be crossing over with Tom Hardy's Venom after Spider-Man 3 and Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage. Insomniac hasn't revealed exactly when Spider-Man PS5 is going to be released or given a time frame, but it's probably not going to be till at least 2023 or 2024. It's still a ways off, so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Reading between the lines with all this news, there were rumors last year when Marvel and Sony were still fighting over the future of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU. Everyone remembers that around D23.
No fears, no regrets. Part of the journey is the end.
When that got worked out, there were reports that Sony had also signed Tom Holland to a new contract for Spider-Man movies that also included all the crossover movies they wanted him in, like the cameo scene that they wanted him for in Venom 2 post-credit scene. Number 3, so the actual full-blown Spider-Man vs. Venom movie, where the whole movie is the two of them together, won't actually happen till after Spider-Man 3 and Venom 2, giving the Spider-Man PS5 people time to finish the game and release it so that they're doing Spider-Man vs. Venom in the game around the same time that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going up against Tom Hardy's Venom. Remember that Sony owns the Spider-Man character in the movies, at least the rights to Spider-Man, but they also bought the game studio Insomniac that makes the Spider-Man PS4 and Spider-Man PS5 game. So Sony controls all of this Spider-Man story going on in the games and in the movies. So of course they would also probably want the Spider-Man in the game to look more like their Spider-Man in the movies. In moving into more Spider-Man Venom action, if you've been paying attention to what they've been doing with Venom in the movies, he's not supposed to be a villain, he's supposed to be an anti-hero, so why would Spider-Man be fighting him for an entire movie? To make as many Avengers jokes as possible, the real endgame for Spider-Man and Venom is maximum carnage, which is why I think that they made the title of Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, which kind of sounds like a weird title, so that they could do Spider-Man and Venom together, and they can call that movie Spider-Man Maximum Carnage, just like the title of the comic book that they're ripping the story from. In that comic book story, Spider-Man was forced to team up with Venom, who he'd been fighting for a long time in order to stop the threat of an even worse character, Carnage. So that becomes sort of Sony's version of Captain America Civil War, where they hype it up like Spider-Man's going to be fighting Venom, but the real story is them teaming up to stop Carnage. Just like in Captain America Civil War, where they hyped it up as Team Cap versus Team Iron Man, but really it was all about stopping Baron Zemo. Number 2, and bringing it back around to the Spider-Man PS5 game, yes, Venom is a villain for the most part, but Harry Osborn Venom that they're teasing here in the Spider-Man PS4 post-credit scene gives you an idea for how this arc is going to play out. Harry is Peter's friend, so even though they'll wind up fighting each other, probably because it's a video game, the real villain in this trio of characters here is the Norman Osborn Green Goblin. They're just creating this tragic arc for all these characters to make it feel more dramatic. Green Goblin uses the Venom symbiote to save his son Harry, but accidentally causes him to go crazy until Spider-Man can help Harry Osborn. But in the process of that, Norman Osborn goes full-blown Green Goblin himself, going off the rails, and Spider-Man and Harry Osborn Venom have to team up in some way to try and stop him. They kind of reference this at the end of Spider-Man PS4, where Norman Osborn starts to gaslight Dr. Octopus, claiming that he's never going to admit any fault in anything that happened during the course of the game and the serum that they were working on. That will just continue until he goes full-blown Green Goblin.
The truth. Okay. The truth is, you were only ever worth a damn when you worked for me! The truth is, you could never accept that I'm better than you! You're a failure, Otto! And you always will be!
He wasn't really the main villain of Spider-Man PS4, that was meant to be Dr. Octopus, but really you can see what's going on here. They were just teasing him as an even bigger villain that would pay off in sequels. So number 1, bringing back around to the movies, right now there are still all the Spider-Man stuff happening in the Morbius movie, that's still being released in March next year. Thankfully, no more delays for Spider-Man movies right now. Spider-Man 3 is coming out in December next year, and Venom 2 is still coming out in June. The Morbius movie will be the first major Spider-Man crossover stuff going on with the Venomverse movies at Sony. It's not a full-blown Tom Holland crossover with him appearing on screen or anything like that. There is supposed to be a J. Jonah Jameson cameo, with him coming back after the Spider-Man Far From Home post-credit scene to scream about how terrible Spider-Man is and how he's ruining society. Then they have all the Sinister Six stuff that they're setting up with the Vulture in that prison, and the actual pictures of Spider-Man's costume appearing, and those are just meant to lay the groundwork for bigger crossover in Venom 2, like a post-credit scene cameo, maybe some more Sinister Six teasers in Spider-Man 3, because they keep introducing different Sinister Six characters in the MCU. Then after that, they actually do the big Venom Spider-Man crossover movie and the Sinister Six movie, which right now, based on what the Sony people and Amy Pascal are saying, are two completely separate ideas. Like, they want to get Venom and Spider-Man in a crossover, per Kevin Feige, but all the other Sony people like Amy Pascal are talking about doing a big Sinister Six movie, but they keep talking about those in two different ways, like they're two completely different movies. I don't know what their plans are for Venom when it comes to Sinister Six. We'll have to wait for Venom 2 to see if they do more Sinister Six teasers in that movie. But let me know in the comments, if they do Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six, do you actually want Venom to cameo in that movie, or do you just want them to save that crossover for maximum carnage in live-action Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, potentially? That would kind of be like Sony's version of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, live-action Spider-Verse. But post all your predictions in the comments below. Of course, I'll do more Spider-Man 3 videos when they start filming that movie later this year. We'll start to get more teasers and find out what's actually going on with that movie. We know a little bit about it already. Everyone click here for my Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 trailer video and Easter eggs, and click here for that brand new Avengers WandaVision trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.